All right, good morning. If you're joining, take your time getting yourself set up. Let's start today on our backs. Just lie down however you're comfortable. Close the eyes for a moment. Get yourself settled. And starting to transition away from whatever you just came from. Landing on your mat. Just being, knowing that the doing is coming. But really right here, you're just lying here. Coming to your breath, start to breathe in a little deeper in through the nose. Exhale softly out of the mouth. Breathe in through the nose. Feel the chest and the rib cage expand. Keep breathing in a little bit more. Exhale out of the mouth. Let it go. This time, breathe in through the nose all the way up. Make the inhale as long as you can. And before you start the exhale, think about making that as long as you can. When you can't breathe in anymore, slowly start the exhale. Let that air out as slow as possible out of the mouth. Try to control it. Breathe in through the nose. Lips sealed, slowly back out through the nose. Same thing you did before. Slow exhale. Control the length of the exhale. You're letting air out of the body instead of pushing it out. Keep going with this breath, your Ujjayi breath. In through the nose. Back out through the nose. And if you have the eyes closed, blink them open. Stretch the arms overhead. You can either just stretch them overhead or interlace the fingers, turn the palms to face away from you. Whichever one helps you get a little longer. And then hug the right knee in toward the chest. Keep extending that left heel away from you so that left leg feels nice and long. Extend that right leg up, interlace the fingers behind the back of the right thigh. So that right heel is pointing up toward the sky. If that right leg is really tight, you can always put a bend in the right leg to wherever you feel a nice opening start to happen. Bring the toes down toward the face. And if you feel really open, you could start to walk the hands up toward the calf, the ankle, whatever's right there. But we're not trying to force this stretch. You're just starting out. So it's just a gentle opening. Bring the right knee back in toward the chest. Extend the right leg out in front of you. Bring the left knee in. Hug it in. Get that right leg long as you bring the left knee in toward the chest. That left hip wants to come up. Keep pushing that away from you. Extend the left leg up, interlace the fingers behind the back of the left thigh. See what this leg needs, if that's a bend, if it feels like opening up a little bit more. Left heel goes up toward the sky, left toes come down toward the face. Imagine you're standing on the right leg. Keep that engagement. If you did it on the first side and you want to play with walking the hands up the leg, you can start to walk the hands up toward the calf, the ankle, wherever the opening is that feels good. No pulling, no force. Bring that left knee back in toward the chest. Grab the right knee, so both knees in toward the chest. One hand on each knee, and start to take some circles with the knees. And you'll feel the hips on the mat as you do that. So just go in one direction. and then switch directions, go the other way. Come back to center. Grab the backs of the thighs. Start to take some rocks. So just go up and down the spine. They can start out small and get bigger. And then eventually we'll make our way onto hands and knees. So you'll roll over, coming forward, make your way to tabletop. And let's do some rounds of cat-cow. On the inhale, reach the heart forward. On the exhale, round the spine, let the head and the neck go. Then keep going on your own. Cat-cow. You can keep it traditional. If you want to circle the body at all, you're welcome to do that. One more, forward and back. Come to tabletop. Step the toes back behind you, coming into plank pose. So fire up the legs the way that you did when you were lying on your back and you were stretching those heels away from you. Hug the belly in a little bit and then start to reach the heart forward. So the body should feel really long and engaged. Keep the hands and the feet where they are. Downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back. Can have a bend in the legs here. Feet can be wider. And you can even pedal out the feet if you'd like. Then look forward at the hands. Start to walk the feet forward. Take small little baby steps, just 1 foot at a time. Slowly making your way to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Feet still hip width distance apart. You can even put the 2 fists between the feet to measure to make sure they're about hip width distance. Let the head and the neck go in your forward fold. Clasp opposite elbows. If you don't have any lower back stuff, you can sway side to side. Sometimes that helps the head and the neck release, as well as the whole body. Shift more of the weight into the balls of the feet. You'll feel the hips go up a little bit higher when you do that, and the backs of the legs get a little bit longer. Switch the clasp of the elbows, opposite forearm in front. Hands come back down to the mat. Inhale up, just come up halfway. Exhale, fold. 2 more times. Inhale up, hug the belly in, reach the heart forward. Nice open chest. Exhale, fold. Last one. Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. This time, inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the hands together overhead, root down through the legs, get long here. So you're reaching the fingertips up as high as they'll go without taking the shoulders with you. Lengthen the whole front side of the torso, lengthen the tailbone away from you. Root down through the legs, feel the inner thighs engage. Feeling all 4 sides of the core engaged, the waist, the front side, the back side. And then separate the hands to shoulder width distance, look straight forward, cactus the arms. So bring the elbows back, lift the chest. You can look down the bridge of the nose might go up. And if you really want to look up, you can look up. Just root down through the legs so you have a nice strong foundation. And reach the arms all the way back up, right to where we were. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. So stay looking forward so the hips stay forward. Make sure those hips don't move. Now you can open up the gaze over to the right or maybe even at that backhand, but keep the hips going forward. Spread the arms out wide. Reach the arms all the way back up. We'll switch sides. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Stay looking forward. Notice how that left hip needs to really focus on going forward because it wants to open up to the left. Once you have it and you can keep the legs and the hips in this position, change the gaze, maybe looking over to the left or all the way at that backhand. Reaching in both directions with the arms, rooting down through the legs, lifting the chest up. Arms come all the way back up to the top. Look forward. And on the exhale, forward fold. Come all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back to a lunge. Scoot that left foot back as far as you can, then set the back knee down. You can either keep the toes tucked on the back foot or you can untuck the toes. See which one feels better. Walk the hands up to this front thigh to bring the chest up. You're welcome to stay here, pushing that thigh away from you, or you can interlace the fingers behind the back. That's a nice opening for that left hip flexor. Same thing here. If that left hip wants to open up to the left, point it forward. Keep lifting the chest. And if you can lock the elbows, put a little bend in the elbows. Then set the hands down to the mat. Bring the right knee next to the left knee. So now you're in back to tabletop. From here, step the left toes back behind you, spin that left heel down flat. You can kick this right heel away from you a little bit. We're coming into a modified version of side plank. Left arm reaches up. Push the mat away from you. Start to get light in the left foot. Press out through the left heel. Maybe you lift the left leg up. Stay here or bend the left knee, reach back, see if the foot's there. Hug the belly in a little bit, reach the chest forward, point that left knee back, lengthen the tailbone. Gently release the left foot, reach the left arm up toward the sky, then bring that left hand back down to the mat. Level off the hips, set the left knee down to the mat. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Look forward at the hands, glide forward plank pose, lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale up, just a baby cobra, not your deepest one. Exhale, release, 2 more of those. Each one can get a little deeper. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Last one of these. Inhale up, cobra. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, either hands and knees or take plank to get to downward facing dog. Then look forward at the hands, walk the feet forward, up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, right foot steps back. Way back, then set the knee down. Either keep those back toes tucked or untuck them. One hand at a time comes up to the front thigh to bring the chest up. Square the hips forward, maybe interlace the fingers behind the back, opposite index finger on top. Lift the chest. Put a little bend in the elbows if you lock them. Hands come back down to the mat. Bring that left knee next to the right knee, tabletop. Step the right toes back behind you, spin that right heel down flat, reach the right arm up. Feel free to kick that left heel out for better stability, especially with where we're going. And then once you start to feel that mat being easily pushed away from you, start to lift the right leg up. Point the right toes, bend the right knee, reach back, see if the foot's there. Bring the knee away from you as you bring the chest over the top of the mat. Keep hugging the belly in, lengthen the tailbone even here. And try not to let that right hip spin up toward the sky. You want it to go straight forward in front of you. Gently release the right foot, reach the right arm up, then bring the right hand down to the mat, level off the hips, back to tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog, hips go up and back. This time, glide forward to plank pose, lower all the way down to the mat slowly, tops of the feet come down, cobra. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step the feet up between the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga, cobra or up dog. See which one's feeling like the right call for right now. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up to the top. Bring the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose. Lower down halfway to chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, hop, lightly bring the feet forward, up between the hands. Inhale up, halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the top. Bring the hands together, get long, and exhale, hands come down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step it back to plank pose. Lower down with control to chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way back up. Bring the hands together. Stay here. Root down through the legs. Reach up through those fingertips. See if you can get any longer than the time before when we did this. Lengthen the tailbone. Keep those inner thighs engaged, like you're trying to squeeze a block between the thighs or spin the inner thighs back behind you. Then cactus the arms. You can bring the gaze forward, reach the elbows back, lift the chest. If you want to look up, you can look up. Then reach the arms all the way back up. Look forward. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Keep looking forward so you can square the hips, then open the gaze to the right or at that backhand. Look forward. Reach the arms all the way up. Bring the right knee in toward the chest. So you're standing on the left leg. Stand as tall as you can on the left leg. That left thigh needs to go back, chest needs to lift. Then left hand to the left hip, grab the right foot. You're gonna come into a standing quad stretch. Stay looking forward. Something eye level helps with balance. So you don't wanna look low. That'll mess with your balance, and looking up makes it more challenging. So as you bring that right heel toward the glute, the right knee stays pointing down toward the mat. So it's not going out to the right. You can always reach that left arm up, especially if it's going to give you more length in the left side of the body. But focus on the quad stretch. Then gently release the right foot back down to the mat. Reach the right arm up. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank pose. Hold plank pose. Bring the feet all the way together. Roll both heels over to the left, so you're stacking the feet. Right arm reaches up. Now you're in side plank. You can modify it if you want to. But if you're not and the feet are stacked, see if you can bring the big toes together and a slight gap in the heels. Lengthen the tailbone, push the mat away from you. And if you're here, maybe you hover that right leg above the left foot just a little bit. Knee in toward the chest. So hug the belly in. Step that right foot forward. So we'll play with that transition a little bit if it didn't go well. Don't worry. Right hand comes down to the mat. So you're in a lunge. Set that back knee down. Untuck the toes if you want to. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Lift the chest. So lifting the chest, fingers interlace, a little bend in the elbows, lifting the chest up, opening up that left quad, hip flexor. Hands come back down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, extend the back leg. You're back in this runner's lunge. Spin that left heel down flat. Bring it up to warrior two. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Then straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. So you're still reaching up and back, just the front leg straight. You're pressing down into that right foot to reach up and back a little bit more. Come back to reverse warrior, simply bend the right knee, bringing it right over the ankle. Come back to warrior two, looking forward over that right hand. Windmill the hands down to the mat, step back to plank pose. If you'd like a vinyasa, take one, or just go straight back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands to your forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the hands together overhead. Root down through the legs. Lift up through those fingertips. Get as long as you can. Then cactus the arms. Reach the arms back up. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Stay looking forward. Keep those hips forward. Open the chest. Now you can take the gaze back with you if you want to. Bring the gaze back forward. Reach the arms all the way up. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Stand tall on the right leg. Bring that left knee in. If that left hip is lifting, level it off with the right so the sit bones are right next to one another. Right hand can come to the right hip, grab that left foot, bring the knees next to one another, coming into your standing quad stretch. You can reach the right arm up if you'd like. Get as long as you can on the right side of the body. Heel comes in pretty close to the glute or wherever the quad's allowing that to happen in the hamstring. Gently release the foot down to the mat, reach the arms up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Hold plank pose. Feet come all the way together. This time, roll the feet over to the right. Right hand stays down, left arm up. Vashisthasana side plank. Bring the big toes together, slight gap in the heels. Notice what kind of length you get there when you make this, when you move the feet this way. Then hover the left foot, bring the left knee in toward the chest, look where you're going. Step that left foot forward to the top of the mat, coming into your runner's lunge. Hands down to the mat, set that back knee down, untuck the toes, one hand at a time up to that front thigh. Stay here or interlace the fingers behind the back. Lift the chest. Hands come back down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, extend the back legs, spin that right heel down flat. Warrior two. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Everything stays the same. Just press into that left foot to straighten the left leg. Keep reaching up and back, reverse triangle. Back to reverse warrior. Send that left knee straight forward. Try not to let it wobble. Warrior two. Look over the left hand. Windmill the hands down to the mat, step back to plank pose. Optional vinyasa takes you back to downward facing dog. Few breaths in your downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back in a nice long spine. Then bend the knees, look forward, step, hop, walk, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's take chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the arms up, sit back. See if you can sit a little lower, lift the chest up a little higher. Press into the feet, come all the way up to standing. Hands come together. If it's comfortable, you don't have to touch the hands. Root down through the legs, lift up through the fingertips. Cactus the arms. Open up across the chest. Then inhale, reach the arms all the way back up. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Open the gaze, keep the hips going forward, reach back. Bring the gaze back forward, reach the arms up so you're facing forward. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Stand tall. Grab that right foot, bring the glute toward, or bring the heel and the glute together. Reach the left arm up, stand as tall as you can on the left side of the body. Set the foot down, reach the right arm up, and exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank pose, hold plank pose. Bring the feet all the way together. Roll the heels over to the left. Reach the right arm up, side plank. Hover that right foot. Lift the hips up a little bit more. Hug the belly in. Now bring that right knee in toward the chest. Look down at the mat where you're going to step that right foot. Start to step the right foot forward, coming into your lunge. Set the back knee down, untuck the toes, interlace the fingers behind the back, lift the chest. Point the knuckles back. Then hands come down to the mat, tuck the back toes, lift the back leg, warrior two, spin that left heel down flat, reach the arms up, veer two. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior, leave the legs as they are. Straighten the front leg. Keep reaching up and back, reverse triangle. This time adding on, keep the legs the way that they are. Come up to standing with the arms out wide. Let's take triangle. Shift the hips back, reach that right arm forward. Bring the right hand down, left arm up. Turn that left palm to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. Coming into a half bind. Open up the chest and the shoulder. And maybe you start to get light in the right hand, right arm. Float it forward, palm facing up toward the sky. You're coming into a half bound reverse warrior. Start to bend the right knee, reach up and back with that right arm. Left arm still behind the back. Warrior 2. Spread the arms out wide, look forward over the right hand. Hands come down to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway to chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Look forward, bend the knees, hips high, step, walk, hop, feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms up. So it's as if you're gonna sit in a chair, but you're catching yourself right before you touch the seat. Maybe that helps you get a little bit lower. Maybe that helps you engage more muscles in the legs because it should feel like you're holding yourself as you hover over the seat. Rise up to standing. Maybe the hands come together, just get long. Cactus the arms, open up across the chest. Then reach the arms all the way back up. This time, right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Once you have the hips squared forward, maybe you take the gaze back. Then look forward. Reach the arms all the way up. This time, left knee comes in toward the chest. Stand on the right leg, bring the left knee in. Get that length on the whole right side of the body. Right hand can come to the right hip. Grab that left foot, bring the heel toward the glute, knees next to one another. Reach that right arm up if you'd like. Make sure you're getting a nice quad stretch with the knees next to one another. Left foot comes back down to the mat. Reach the left arm up, then exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Hold plank pose. Bring the feet together. Heels come over to the right. Left arm reaches up. Hover that left foot so it's not higher than hip height. Bring the left knee in toward the chest. Look down at the mat. Where are you going to step that left foot? Bring it forward as you come onto the ball of the back foot. Left hand comes down, right knee comes down. Untuck the toes, interlace the fingers behind the back, lift the chest up. Hands come back down to the mat. Tuck those back toes, extend the back leg. Right heel comes down. Warrior 2, take your time. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, keep reaching up and back. Come up to standing, leave the legs as they are. We'll come into triangle pose from here. Hips keep going back as the left arm reaches forward. Then bring that left arm down lightly, right arm reaches up. Turn that right hand to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. Get light in the left arm. Start to float that left arm forward, palm facing up. Keep the right arm behind the back if you can. Reverse warrior. Start to bend that front leg. Reach up and back. Warrior two. Release the arms. Look forward. Windmill the hands down to the mat. You choose if you want the vinyasa on the way back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, chair pose. Plenty of time to find your chair. Rise all the way up to standing. Reach the fingertips up toward the sky. Lengthen the tailbone away from you. Cactus the arms. Lift and spread the chest. Then reach the arms back up toward the sky. Left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. You know what to do. Change the gaze, keep the hips forward. Then look forward, reach the arms all the way up. Right knee comes in toward the chest. Stand on the left leg. Left hand, left hip, grab that right foot. Hopefully this transition's getting a little bit smoother as you bring the heel toward the glute. Maybe you lift that left arm up. Set that right foot down, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back to plank pose, pause. Bring the feet together, heels go over to the left, side plank, right arm reaches up. Reach that right foot up just about hip width distance. Bend the right foot. You can point the toes back behind you. Maybe you set that right big toe down just lightly. Use the glutes to lift the hips up. Right arm can go up and over the ear. So this right foot, it's barely touching the ground behind you. The whole sole of the foot is nowhere near the ground. Either the ball of the foot or just the big toe. Glutes are pushing the hips up. You're still pushing the mat away from you. Right arm comes back up to the sky. If you took that option, hover that right foot, bring the right knee in toward the chest. Look where you're going. Step the right foot forward. Hands come down to the mat. So does the back knee. Untuck the toes. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Hands come back down to the mat. Tuck those back toes. Lift the back leg. Left heel comes down. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. Start setting up for triangle. Come up to standing. You could always heel toe the back foot in a little bit. Reach forward, hips go back. Right arm down, left arm up. Little different this time. Look down at the right foot. Start to bend the right knee a lot. You're coming into half moon. Shift the weight forward. You can even use a block underneath the right hand. Lift the left leg up. Open the chest. Hug the belly in. If you want to, you could bend the top leg, reach back, see if the foot's there for Chapasana. If it's not, just stick with half moon. If you have the foot, gently release, come back to half moon. Step back to triangle. Turn that left palm to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. Squeeze those legs together as you float that right arm forward. Reverse warrior, keeping the left arm behind the back if you can. Warrior two. Hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose, maybe a vinyasa, back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, hop the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. So dig into this chair pose. You know you're going to come up to a stretch right after this. So build some heat in the legs, the core, either looking forward or looking up. Rise all the way up to standing. Hands come together. Here's your stretch. Stretch those legs away from you. Lift the rib cage away up toward the sky. Then cactus the arms. Reach the arms back up. Stay looking forward. Right arm reaches forward. Left arm reaches back. Open the chest, not the hips. Take the gaze with you if you're looking for a challenge. Bring the gaze back forward. Reach the arms all the way up. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Look straight forward, probably focusing your gaze on one spot that's not moving. Right hand to the hip, grab the left foot, bring the heel toward the glute. Maybe the right arm goes up. Lengthen the quad. Set that left foot down, reach the arms up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose. Hold plank pose, bring the feet all the way together. This time heels go over to the right. Find side plank, lifting the left arm up. Maybe hover the left foot. Maybe point that left toe away from you. Bring the heel in toward the glute. Maybe start to set that left foot back down behind you, just the big toe, maybe the ball of the foot. Reach the left arm up and over. Those glutes are pushing the hips up, away from the mat. Really lightly, you're rooting down through the whole right side of the body. Hover the left foot, stretch that left leg so that it's straight. Reach the left arm up toward the sky. Bring the left knee in toward the nose. Look at the mat, step the left foot forward. Set that left hand down, back knee down, untuck the toes, interlace the fingers behind the back, opposite index finger on top. Hands come down to the mat. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, right heel down, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, keep reaching up and back. Come up to standing. Maybe you heel toe the back foot in a little bit, triangle. Look down toward the left foot, bend the left knee, maybe using a block, shove that block or hand above the pinky toe about a foot. You can hop the back foot a couple of times, shift the weight forward, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Open the chest, hug the belly in. You could even put a little bend in the standing leg if you feel like it brings that left hip in and underneath you. Play with Chapasana if you want to, bending that top leg, reaching for the foot. Make sure you're pretty light in the left hand. If you have the foot, the chest is reaching forward, you're getting that quad stretch, pressing the hand into the foot, the hand back into the foot. If you have Chapasana, gently release, come back to half moon, extending the right leg, then step back to triangle pose. Turn that right palm to face behind you, wrap the right arm behind the back. Root down through both legs, hug the core in, stretch that left arm forward, come all the way back to reverse warrior. Bend the front leg, keep the right arm behind the back. Warrior two. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Last vinyasa if you want it. Back to downward facing dog. So from your downward facing dog, couple of options. We're gonna come into single pigeon. If you know single pigeon is not your pose, just come onto your back and do thread the needle. Start with the right side. If you wanna play with single pigeon, lift the right leg up and back. Bring the right shin forward, up behind the forearms. Stretch that left leg way back. Keep the chest lifted so we can set this up together. Now, some people can get their right shin all the way up behind their forearms. Some of us, that's just not our anatomy, and it's not going to happen. So just see where you don't have any sensation in the right knee. If you do and you can't get out of it, come onto your back and do thread the needle. You might need to move the right foot closer to the left hip too, if that's the case. Square the hips, maybe coming up onto the fingertips, maybe walking the hands back by the hips. You'll feel the hips start to engage a little bit more. Then start to walk the hands forward, maybe coming down onto the forearms, or maybe resting the head all the way down. And you can use blocks. If that right hip is way lifted, you could put a block under there, could put a block underneath the chest or the forehead or both. This is where blankets and pillows are always nice too. All right, so if you're in single pigeon, stay with me. Let's see how open the body is for this next pose. So come back up onto the hands. Legs are still like single pigeon. If you're able to get that right foot way forward, bring it back so it's closer toward the left hip. And then squeeze those hips together. So if the right foot's closer to the left hip, you'll be able to walk the hands back a little closer to the hips and squeeze the hips together, lifting the chest. So you should feel a lot of engagement in the whole front side of the core, all four sides of the core, really. Then the right hand comes right in front of you, right down underneath the chest. You can be on the fingertips. Play with lifting the back leg. So it's that same action we've been playing with. You're pointing the toes, lifting the leg up. Then maybe if that's happening, you can reach for the inside of the foot with the left hand. So you're still lifting the chest. Maybe that left foot comes in closer. And the quad is a tough place to get into. So hopefully it's definitely more open than wherever you started. So you can play with how far in you want to bring that foot. If it seems available, you could bring the foot into the crook of the elbow and reach the right arm up, lifting yourself up even more. You can even bring the right hand behind the head. So taking this in stages, you stop wherever you need to and you stay there and breathe. If the hand's behind the head, maybe you see if the hands can connect. But again, going for length and space. Reach the right arm back up if you took that option. Right hand comes back down to the mat if it's not there already. Then you can just grab the left foot, gently set it back down behind you, squaring the hips forward, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, come back to downward facing dog. If you're in thread the needle, just take a break before you transition to the other side. Then pedaling out the feet's pretty nice if you were in single pigeon and now you're in downward facing dog. If you want to move that right leg around a little bit, you can do that too. Okay, so we'll switch sides. If you're in thread the needle, switch sides. If you're in downward facing dog, lift the left leg up and back. Bring that left shin forward. See where it is on this side. Most of us, it's going to be in a different place. Stretch those right big toes way back. Walk the hands in. Lift the chest, square the hips. Start to bring yourself forward. Folding over the leg, using blocks, props, whatever you have, if there's spaces that you want to fill in. Start to come back up onto the hands if you're in single pigeon. If that left foot's way up, bring it back so it's closer to the right hip. Square the hips forward, hands back by the hips. Squeeze those hips together, lift the chest, hug the belly in, start to bend the right leg. Left hand right down, it's inside of the knee, right underneath the chest. Maybe you reach back with the right arm, grabbing the inside of the foot or the outside, whatever's there. Bring that heel in toward the glute. See what happens there. Lift the chest a little bit more. Maybe you hook the foot in the crook of the elbow, lifting the left arm up toward the sky, getting some lift. Maybe left hand comes behind the head. You keep pointing that left elbow up. If the hands are really close, then connect them, coming into wherever the body's taking you with all these stages. Breathe wherever you are, experience the pose, get space and length where you can. If anything feels like you're not getting space and length, go back a step until you get it. Left arm reaches up, bring that left hand back down to the mat, grab that right foot, gently setting it down behind you. Hands come down in front of you. Downward facing dog. If you're coming from single pigeon, same thing, pedal out the feet, move that left leg around, however it feels best. Then come into your downward facing dog, lift the hips up and back, push the mat away from you. Set the knees down onto the mat, bring the feet over to one side, and we'll all come to seated on the mat, extending the legs out in front of us. Reach the arms all the way up, fold over the legs, Paschimottanasana. Slowly come back up to seated. Bring the feet down to the mat, scoot yourself forward, lie down onto your back, hug the right knee in toward the chest. Extend the left leg, bring the right knee across the body, coming into a spinal twist. You'll need to shift onto the left side of the body. Reach that right arm away from you, bring the gaze right over the right hand. So the right hand's in line with the shoulder. Unless you're cactusing the arm, bring the elbow in line with the shoulder. Come back to center, roll onto your back, bringing the left knee in toward the chest, stretch the right leg out in front of you, and let the left knee fall across the body, coming into your spinal twist the other way. Shift onto the right side of the body so the whole right side of the body's on the mat. Reach back with the left arm, maybe the gaze too. Come onto your back. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Take happy baby. Reach through the insides of the legs. Grab the outer edges of the feet. Keep the hips rooted down onto the mat as you pull the feet back. You'll bring the knees back in toward the chest. Bring the nose up toward the knees. Close the eyes. Take a big inhale as you curl up in a tight little ball. Exhale, Shavasana. Extend the legs out in front of you. Set the head down. Get the shoulders into place, which might mean lifting the chest a little bit. The shoulders are crawling up toward the ears. And if you feel any tightness in the lower back, use the hands to manually move the glutes toward the heels and then come back into your Shavasana. Let the body just spread like water across the floor. This is where you find your separation from the physical body, coming into the truest version of yourself and just spending some time here so that you feel more centered as you come back into your day. Stay right where you are. With the eyes closed, just slowly start to move the eyes right to left, back and forth. And stop and center, go up and down. Not too fast. Then come back to center. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Reach the arms overhead. Find a nice long stretch on your mat. You'll start to make your way onto your right side, coming out of Shavasana, but take your time, go slow, spend a couple of breaths lying on your side. When you feel ready, you use the hands to bring yourself up to an easy cross-legged seat. Using the hands to get up to an easy cross-legged seat is just a much more soothing way to treat yourself and to wake yourself up. As you sit up nice and tall, still with the eyes closed, bring the gaze toward the third eye, so up between the brows. Keep them there. Bring the hands together. Now bow the head to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up. Blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining live or on the recording. I really appreciate it. Hope you feel great and that you have a great day.